Okay, we're live.
Cool. Right. So we're not doing this on video, so you can just listen to our voices. For all the 4 people that are listening to this, we had a look at actually how many people are listening to us, and there's not that many. So hopefully in a few years' time, we'll look back at this and go, well, it was all worth it, or not, or who knows. But we love talking about it. We're doing this for the passion.
Yep.
Aren't we? That's it.
That's the one.
And we might be able to do some good predictions as well.
Well, it seems to already have, or someone has.
It's crazy, isn't it? Do you want to take it away?
So, obviously, if you're unaware, since our last podcast, actually, just since our last podcast, the US managed to stage an operation and take, in one night, the president of Venezuela. Obviously, it was a massive operation. I think there was, they said there was 150 aircraft that had taken off involved in that operation that left the US in the kind of early hours of the morning, or at 10 p.m. I think the operation started. I can't remember.
1 a.m. I believe it was.
1 a.m. Yeah. So essentially, the Delta Force went in, and the president of Venezuela woke up to a bunch of men standing over him. Not exactly how it happened, but isn't that funny? I mean, it just proves to you that actually, you know, although we've been saying, America's superpower, American military is great, you don't often get to see just how great they are. And that operation, you know, I mean, this isn't a small thing. This massive, fucking massive. And it shows that, you know, Delta Force is one of the best in the world, only behind every British Special Forces.
Of course. So Venezuela are obviously a country in the north of South America. It's kind of been flirting with the other powers, isn't it? It's kind of been flirting with China, with Russia, and they had an election a couple of years ago, something like that, where the other party won, but Nicolas Maduro, who was already in charge, stayed in power despite not being voted in. And the country has got worse and worse over the past decade. Something like it's worth just 20% of what it had been, so it's lost 80% of its GDP, which is nuts. So Venezuela really is a failing state, and the United States came in under the sort of pretense of drugs. Or the drugs coming from Venezuela to American shores. That's the kind of how they did it. They kind of said that we're going to take Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, under certain charges of certain drug charges. So they came in the twilight hours, or the 1 a.m. They took him, and they took him away back to America. He's now in a New York jail cell, awaiting trial. So this is completely crazy. And I think when you compare it to, the thing is, like, this isn't a new thing. You know, America has imposed its will for pretty much every decade for the past however many decades. You know, with Iraq, Afghanistan, etc. So, but this, as you say, shows how slick they can be. But I think the reason why it was so slick was because the Venezuelans were against him. And there's been rejoicing, and there's been a lot of Venezuelans that are happy about the fall of Maduro. So that's, you know, they're all quite happy. So you kind of think, well, win-win, right? Well, this is the different bit. So the reason why, or the true reason of why Trump, let's face it, and the MAGA team have gone in, is more for territorial ambitions. It's more for the land. It's for the oil. It's for the rare minerals. And I just think it's another notch on the belt, right? I just think it's more land. They saw it as it kind of did two things. So it's land that's now in America's hands, and and also it pisses off China and Russia a bit. But this isn't really the story that I would like to talk about, because if it was just Venezuela, you can kind of wrap it up and just say that's where it is. Something crazy happened, and and it will, and whatever will happen will happen. But this isn't where it ends.
Nope.
So if this is all it was, it would be kind of like, okay, that's that. But it's not. It then continues to what other ambitions Trump has got. So he's said that Colombia better wash their back, Panama, Cuba, Greenland, Canada, Mexico.
I mean, Greenland.
All these, each one that I've said about, are all countries that Trump has said that he wants, and now we know that he means it. Yeah. Now that we know he's got the brass neck to just say outright, yeah, this is our land now, and we've done it. We've done it for these reasons, but we want the oil. There doesn't really seem to be any kind of legal challenges. Doesn't seem to be any sort of internal politics that are kind of raising their head. I mean, if Keir Starmer did something like this, it'd be out within moments, because his backbenchers just wouldn't have it. But he seems to have the backing of his party, of kind of by America as well. I would have thought.
Yeah.
And so the scary thing is Greenland. That's massively in the news right now. That okay, I find it crazy how quickly this has gone. So we last did the podcast. What was it, last Thursday?
Something like that, yeah.
And then by the next day, it basically already happened. So all this happened the day after. So just a few days now. We're talking about this on Wednesday, and everything's moving so quickly. It's almost like we need to do a podcast every day, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's that quick, that fast pace moving, and the fact that this has happened in Venezuela, and already we're talking about the next target. And that's because Trump's talking about the next target already, and then there's so many other issues. What happens because he's because this is happening with Greenland, then what happens with NATO? What happens with Europe?
So it's really interesting because Greenland is Greenland's an interesting situation because of essentially what Trump is saying, in that it plays a really strategic role based on its location, and it does. In all fairness, it does. And essentially what Trump's been saying is that Denmark haven't done enough to protect it, and therefore America would be able to, right? That's essentially what's being said. Now, this is where it gets a little bit difficult, because there is no resources below Greenland. There is no oil, there is no thingy. All there is land and ocean in a really strategic area.
No, there's loads of minerals.
Is there?
Yeah. There is, there's shed loads of stuff. I don't know what there is. You keep talking, I'll find out what it is.
Okay. All right, so ignoring that then. I think it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, there is no question of America's ability to do it. Mind you, we then have to question what sanctions would Europe do in the event of this? And my theory is, fuck them. Because they're too afraid. I think all the European countries witnessed the devastation economically when Trump announced the new tariffs. All the countries kind of got to see firsthand, they started to panic, just at America increasing tariffs, right, to even European countries. Even England did. You know, Starmer, it was in the news for a couple of weeks, Starmer had to keep on negotiating some sort of trade deal with him. So, you know, if Europe was to introduce some sort of tariffs on America, that could be, you know, almost an economical war, which is stupid because the thing is, whether you like it or not, you know, Europe is tiny and Trump and America still protects a lot of our land. And in the event of a world war, they would. So Europe don't really have many legs to stand on. And I think that's why Keir Starmer has been so silent about it. Because, you know, you really don't want to piss off the wrong person here.
It's like a game of chess.
Yeah.
It's so clever and also so disturbing. So the way I see it is we've lived in a really fortunate time. You know, we've not lived in war. I mean, yes, there has been wars, but not really that of any danger to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so we've enjoyed such good peacetime, and so this is just very strange to us. So, what stopped people from or countries from doing like bad things is international law.
Yeah.
You know, human rights and all these like global tie-ins that have kind of tied people to do quote unquote the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's like the UN, NATO, the G7, whatever, you know, there's all these kind of organizations that are all kind of tying these countries together through agreements and through trade and through laws and all that kind of stuff. It's just made it very difficult to do anything that used to happen in the 19th century and days gone by.
Yeah.
So this is a really, really weird time because we're like, wow, yeah, Trump, you can't do that because America can't take over Greenland, it can't take over Colombia, it can't take over Venezuela because it's against international law.
Yeah.
And that's right. You know, that's right. Okay, so we've got nothing to worry about, except we kind of do have something to worry about because they just go, well, so what? You know, so what? You know, it's like, I don't know, let's say I don't want to pay HMRC, right?
Yeah.
And it says, oh, you know, you must pay by the 28th of December.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, and if I don't? Do you know what I mean? Like, and if I don't, what happens? Well, if you don't, we'll hit you with some fines. Okay, well, don't pay that, then what happens? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like a case of, there's a sort of thing of, oh, you can't do it. Okay, but what are the consequences? So the way I like link that in is if America then puts a flag on Greenland and says, you know, this is American soil now, you know, what's Europe going to do? And we both agree this, don't we? They're going to do absolutely nothing. They're going to do nothing. So for Trump, this is an easy win. And you could go, okay, well, there could be sanctions that Europe's going to do on them. Okay, well, that's just going to piss Trump off, isn't it?
Yep.
You know, because Europe need America right now. They need it because of Russia.
Much more than America needs Europe.
Yeah, because of Russia. So Russia is on the eastern flank on the march, and the only thing that stopped Russia from stampeding through Ukraine and probably the rest of the Baltic states, the old Soviet Union, is America.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump knows this, which is why I say he's playing a game of chess, because he knows that Europe need him, and they ain't gonna do shit. They ain't gonna do nothing about it. So he's going, well, this is easy pickings. By the way, Greenland has got iron ore zinc, copper, gold, titanium, nickel, cobalt, graphite, rubies, natural oil, and the rest. So
Fair enough.
It's got a lot.
I stand corrected.
The problem with Greenland is it's not very green. It's very icy. And it's quite hard for anyone to get it out. The whole kind of, when they say we need Greenland, we need Greenland for our security, but no, you don't. And the reason why I say no, you don't, is because Denmark have actually said to the United States, you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You do what you want to do. If you want to open up more army bases, they've already got army bases there, America. So you open up more if you want to open up more. If you want to have vessels going on there, if you want to control stuff, you go ahead. If you want to even mine the natural resources, go ahead. We're open to it. So Denmark have actually been very, very much, maybe for this reason, but they've been very much, you can do what you want. But Trump's there going, well, I don't really want to go to Denmark, cap in hand, and be like, oh, well, can I do this? Can I do that? Why we like... and, he makes a very good point. And he said it on his first term with NATO as well, with the amount of spending. And when he got into the office second time round, he made a real big thing about, look, we're not gonna defend you. Yeah. If you're not putting in the right amount, if you're not putting equal amount of money to us in percentage terms, why should we defend you? And you can't look at it and go, we can't do that, but that is fair.
Yeah.
How do you argue with that? You can't. And Europe is now looking at everything going, shit, because they've been taking America for granted. Let's face it, they have.
Yeah. America has been like the big brother. The big brother of Europe. Right? It's been, you're the weak little sibling can protect themselves in the playground, so the big brother comes in. But
you say that, but this is only in the last 20 years. Okay, so pre-2000, Europe was probably, if not bigger than the United States, was about the same size as the United States. Now it's like a third of the United States in terms of its like GDP, in terms of its like wealth. So America's shot up. Mm-hmm. And so the imbalance now is completely different to what it was 25 years ago, which is crazy. But also at the same time, China has gone from, I don't even know what levels they were 25 years ago. You might be able to have a look. But they've shot up, So China in like the 1990s were well before. I think they were even worth below what the UK was. They were really quite kind of down there. And then in the last 25, 35 years, China's shot up. So it's now obviously second, just behind the United States. And so,
it used to be in the 1990s, China was ranked 11th.
And where was the UK? And compared to that, probably more, probably better. So China's gone from being well, whichever the case, right? China has gone from being per capita anyway, a very poor country, to now, so in the 1990s, China was the 11th richest country in the world, and the UK was the 6th most richest country in the world. And now China is number 2nd. I still think we're probably like 8th or something, aren't we? We're still quite high.
We're still in the G7, aren't we? So
yeah. So the parameters of everything have massively shifted. This day and age that we have been living through is not the normal one. I tell you one thing that's weird as well is when people start questioning why you'd want extra land, right? But why question that when actually, when you look through the history of time, that's all man has wanted to do.
Yeah.
Right? Throughout all of history of mankind, from what we know, it's been about how much land can I own, and that there's something instinctual and something there's something about human beings that want to be that want to impress. They want to be the biggest. They want to be the best. They want to have the biggest. They want to have the biggest house, the biggest country, the most powerful country. I think a lot of people think about the UK's history as, wow, Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but when I hear that, the sun never set on British soil type thing, I think I have a bit of a sense of pride.
Yeah.
Even though that's pretty warped when you think about how we got that.
Yeah.
There's something, I don't know if it's a man thing or whatever, but there is, it's like like dick swinging, It's something about man, as primal as it is, that wants to have more land.
Yep. It's a fight for more.
Yeah, whether it's your home, or whether it's a country, it's always been the case.
Yeah.
And so this sort of arbitrary kind of thing of, well, this is where our country finishes. Well, why can't you grow it bigger? What are you going to do about it? And it really is that. And I think Trump has just gone, well, let's say we do dig for minerals in Greenland. It's going to cost us loads of money. We're going to have to pay loads of money to Denmark. Why do that when we could just take it?
Yeah.
We were talking earlier, weren't we, about we were saying about sort of comparisons to like the Falkland Islands, because the interesting thing about Greenland is it doesn't belong to the people of Greenland. Currently, it belongs to Denmark, which is a country ages away. America, you all right?
Yeah.
America, in terms of geography, is much closer to Greenland, and Denmark is ages away. This is something that is like age gone by, and so Greenland is just owned by Denmark. The actual people of Denmark, the actual people of Greenland aren't culturally Danish. They aren't. I don't even know if they speak Danish. I doubt it. They're more of kind of the eunuch tribe or
they're
something
more
like that.
similar to Icelandic people than any, aren't they?
There's more of native.
They're different.
Native Canadians and native. What did Billy call them? People who live in igloos.
Eskimos.
Yeah, it's more that kind of thing, right?
Oh.
No, not anymore, but that's where they originated from,
right.
and they're still the same people. So culturally, that's where they come from. And it's not Danish. So they don't want to be, and so they don't want to be controlled by the Danes. They don't want to be controlled by Denmark, right? But they don't want to be controlled by the United States either.
Yeah.
So, if you compare it to like the Falklands, so a British overseas territory, they want to be British. They even had a referendum, which stated they want to retain under the crown.
Yeah.
So it's very, 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 very different. It'd be quite interesting to see as well if you actually gave the Greenland people a vote, what they would say.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I personally think it's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because in terms of a war, theoretically, let's say Russia does invade Europe, right? What countries border Russia? Doesn't Denmark border Russia? Is it Finland? Which is the one that borders Russia?
Finland, well, quite a few countries. But
it's in that region, though, isn't it?
Finland to the north, yeah.
So I think the argument is, or one of the arguments America has, irrespective of the potential reserves of materials and all that stuff, is that if there was a war, Russia would probably get through those countries quite quickly. Well, given how Ukraine happened, that's more debatable, but let's assume they do.
There's no way they can beat Europe, even without America. So even if America weren't involved, there's no way that they could get through the whole of Europe.
No, I'm not saying about the whole of Europe. I'm saying the top part.
Look at Poland.
Is that what it's called?
No, I'm just saying. Look at Poland. Like Poland is.
Well, Poland's becoming one of the most powerful militaries in thingy.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the top part. When they're hold on, let me just get up a map of Europe.
What, like the Nordic countries?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sweden, Norway, Finland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be their best bet. So this is what I mean. So
didn't Sweden and Norway or something just they've just got into NATO? They're probably thinking it's a bloody point now.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, right, about NATO. So if it's widely kind of thought that if America takes over Greenland, and which, by the way, I think they definitely will do this now.
You think America will definitely take over Greenland?
100%. I have no doubt in my mind that
it's
Greenland...
massive. I didn't realise how big it actually is.
Look at it on a globe. It is smaller than it is on the...
Oh, is it?
map,
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's still big, though. It's like 20 times the size of Germany or something.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's huge. But Europe's tiny. But anyway, it is massive, but it's largely uninhabitable. But anyway... So if America, I say invaded, took over, put their flag on Greenland, Europe aren't going to do anything, but that's definitely the end to NATO, because it's just not possible.
Yeah, because the whole point of NATO is that if one country attacks a NATO ally, then they'll trigger. Is it Article 7? Which is it's not Article, maybe it is Article 7, I don't know.
Whatever it is.
It's the response of all countries basically against that country. But I never think they ever accounted for what happens if one NATO country attacks another NATO country. It's like, we didn't plan for this. But yeah, 100%. It would be the end of NATO.
Yeah.
Which...
Had a good run. You know?
Do you know what?
I think going for a long time.
But do you know what's interesting as well?
Post-World War.
Well, no, there's a lot of talk about the EU as well, because currently France is drowning. Their economy is drowning. It's not doing well. And if France fails, and there's started to be talks of the what's it called? What's the World Bank basically coming in the coming years because of the French economy. And if the France collapses, it's likely the whole Eurozone will collapse, because that's the problem when you have so many countries sharing one currency.
Yeah.
So there's
loads of issues with that, isn't there?
So there's loads of questions about the Eurozone collapsing, and then you would question probably the EU would probably collapse after that as well. And do you know what? NATO is one of the things where I thought no matter what, that would probably survive because of how how logical it is.
It is a good question, right? Because now it's not even a thing of... It's a case of how far is Trump going to go. And so, okay. So Venezuela's in the bag, right?
Yep.
In the bag?
Yep.
Banked, right? Done. Do you think he's then going to go after Colombia?
Colombia, I think you have more of a problem with because the people there... The thing is, you need to remember as well, is that obviously, Colombia has a lot of cartels. And
well, that's it, right? That's why that's his pretense to go in, is that this isn't run... his thing is the same as it was with Venezuela, is that all these cocaine factories is all making its way to the United States. This is killing Americans. It's doesn't even have a proper governance. It's being run by the cartels. I'm going in. And Panama, he's got claims over that because of the Panama Canal. And China is got large interest in the Panama Canal, even though the Americans built it. And then there's Cuba is all screwed up. Like he could take it all, but the big, I think the massive one is going to be Canada. Now,
what did you say?
I said the massive one is going to be Canada.
Well, I don't think.
Do you think? Canada. Well, this is the thing, right? At what point do you go?
Here's the thing.
I think he could do.
I don't. Okay, look, hold on. You're comparing apples to pears. When we talk about Venezuela, their army is third world. They're probably still using fucking wooden guns.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about Colombia, it's exactly the same. It's the cartels that basically run it.
Yep.
Canada.
Yep.
Have a very strong military. They have very strong special forces, and unlike
nowhere near compared to America.
Nowhere near compared to America, but it poses more of a challenge. And you need to think about one more thing, one really big crucial thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Venezuela was a dictatorship.
Yeah.
It was a communist dictatorship, which means America comes in, they take the president, the country's in tatters. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Colombia, well, it's so run by cartels, I don't even know who the leader is, right? Cuba, once again, very small country. I don't understand how Cuba works governmentally, so I'm not going to comment on that. But Canada...
Really easy. Cuba's really badly run.
Okay. Well, Canada is run in a political state, no real different from America and... the UK.
Well, they got a similar to British. It's still got King Charles as their head of state.
Yeah, right. So I personally, I really, I don't see him doing that. I think that would be.
Think how gobsmacked you are right now about the thought of that happening. Okay, now think about in just pre World War II. Okay, about the prospects of all that happening. Right.
Prospects of what happening?
Of Germany taking over all of Europe.
Yeah, but that's that.
This is the scary thing, right? Is that we can learn from history to a certain extent and just say, well, it was never expected then, so why are we falling for the same thing now?
Yeah, but now it is kind of expected. I'm not. I wouldn't be shocked if Russia tomorrow start invading the country. I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be surprised, yeah, but I wouldn't be shocked. America invading Canada, one of its closest allies, I would. I don't think that would happen.
I'll tell you what is interesting is, do you think that America and Russia have actually got very much aligned interests? And China, in fact. So, basically, if they all kind of almost agree it, right? Russia can take the old Soviet Union, the Baltic states, and Europe's not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
America can take Greenland and most of Latin America, and Europe's not going to do anything about it, and Russia's not going to do anything about it. Yep. China can take Taiwan and keep going into, I think, Mongolia and all the rest of it that they want to do. Yeah. So all these big powers, they just keep winning. And they're all okay with it because they're all winning. Where is the conflict between these large powers? Is in territorial conflict. I can't see it. I don't know where it is.
I think the most likely that's going to have, I think that's a bit of an oversimplification, very much an oversimplification for world geopolitics, but
well, sometimes things are simple, I think. America has got a huge army. They could just roll through. So Canada spend $30 billion a year on its defense. America spends $900 billion on theirs. I'll tell you one thing as well. You know, when we look back at this, okay, in like 30 years' time, when all this is done, and they'll go, oh yeah, I never thought America would do this. And then someone goes, hey, wasn't the first thing that they did change the Department of Defense and they changed the name to Department of War? Shouldn't that have set alarm bells ringing? Do you not think that's nuts? That it's Department of War. I mean, if you it's like bloody, I don't know, the opening of Star Wars or whatever, when they see the bad guy. You know, or in any in any sort of film, right? When it's really obvious who the bad guy is, all right, and they do something that's really bloody obvious. You know, renaming your Department of Defense to Department of War is pretty bait, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's quite funny. But yeah,
I mean,
so who knows what's going to happen there? But Europe's not going to do anything. Should we talk about the current escalation though? Well, this is where World War III. So this is in contrast to what I just said. So I said maybe there is a way in which China gets what it wants, Russia gets what it wants, the United States gets what it wants, but maybe that's just too nicey because these are all powers with a big arsenal and they're all very unpredictable. So I'm just looking at the BBC News now, and this is like coming in hot off the press. United States says it has seized a second tanker after boarding Russian-flagged vessel linked to Venezuela. So this is a kind of embargo on oil tankers in and out of Venezuela. And this is one going from Venezuela to Russia. I believe it's empty, but they were going to capture it. It might even be Russian. I don't actually know. But Russia sent their ships and their navy to protect this oil tanker. And the United States were sending their navy to capture this oil tanker.
Yeah.
Now, this is really where you can see in the history books that this is where World War III really ramps up a bit, because you look at that and you go, okay, well, these two big powers and they're now fighting potentially. I mean, they're not fighting, but it looks like it's getting bloody close to it. So yeah, this is how it can happen. It's scary times, and also it's not far away from the UK. All this,
it's really it's just off the coast, isn't it?
Well, a little bit further than that, I would have thought, but yeah, pretty much. But you know, we talk about the kind of world powers and stuff, and we keep putting Russia in that bracket, but it really isn't. Russia they're on a war footing. But in terms of their wealth, it's not a lot. It's not great. I'm pretty sure the UK is richer.
I mean,
but they are on a war footing, so a lot of their money goes towards bombs and artillery, etc. And they've got a shitload of nukes, so no one wants to mess about with them.
I mean, more importantly than that, in Ukraine, we got to see firsthand how shit the Russian military actually was.
Yeah.
You know, and here's something interesting about the UK is that though we have a really small military, there's been a lot more investment into building a powerful military, but not based on numbers, but based on skill and technology. So obviously we've got our 6th generation fighter, the Tempest, which is supposed to be able to be controlled by AI. It's fully automated. So it's really interesting to see how the stages are kind of setting. But the only world power that hasn't yet made its move is China.
Well, this is the thing, right? So with China, right? So America has got history, okay? For the past few hundred years, since basically the inception of America, they have expanded and expanded and expanded. Okay, so the United States of America obviously started with the 13 colonies east of the states. The whole thing, the rest of America, what we know now as America, was owned by the French in the middle, and the Spanish to the west, if you know your American history. And bit by bit, obviously, the United States and obviously the eastern flank was owned by the British. They then gained independence and then kept moving westwards over to, and then finally taken over California, but all that is all they've done that all from either fighting or buying land. So they've kept on expanding, and then in I think the late 19th century, they then bought Alaska from the Russians, and then since basically the because then obviously you had the First World War, you had the Depression, you had the Second World War, but then after that, then they were involved in numerous wars. They've got outposts. Like if you look at the outposts that the United States have got all the way around the world, they have got army bases everywhere.
Yep.
Like they are everywhere. Now we've got them as like a historical thing, but America has got them everywhere. So wherever you think that America isn't, it is, kind of thing. And so they are extremely powerful. And whilst they've not been on a war footing, I think they spend like 5% or something like that of their GDP on military. And that's just sort of, I guess, just built up. And they're extremely wealthy. In the past 20 years, America shot up in its wealth. I don't know what point I was making now. But yeah, that's it's just incredible. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. So I was talking about Americans. Sorry. This is why we're not professional podcasters yet. So talk about American expansionism. Okay, yeah. So it has continuously wanted to expand, and now it wants to expand further. And having even Canada as part of the United States of America isn't new. That's not new. That's been going back a long time. Yeah. And Mexico also. So this isn't new. It's almost like revived. Even Greenland was talked about that for a long time ago, and that's all come back. So America's always had, and also the thirst for war. You know, whether it be Vietnam or Iraq or Afghanistan. Or the multiple other wars it's got itself into over the past, the willingness it's got into help its allies, etc. America likes war. They spend and they sell. They make so much arms, so much so that they have to sell it to the rest of the world. They are the world's biggest arms dealer, and that's kind of that's America, right? Yeah. Now you look at. You look at Russia. I mean, you've got to look at the size of the bloody lands, you know. So Russia has also got a huge history of wanting to obtain land, and we see this throughout the Soviet era, and even then after that, you've then got the Kosovo conflict. You've got you've now got the Ukrainian one. And it just and that ambition is just continued. But China, I actually don't think China have wanted to expand. Now, the whole thing about Taiwan, now that's because I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying this. I think this is how it is that Taiwan has always been Chinese, but there was an internal conflict of China. And the original government of China then went to Taiwan and sort of declared that they were the government of China, but they were based in Taiwan. And then the new government of China. So you almost have two governments of China at the same time. And so so you had sort of Taiwan, China, and then you had China, China. I might be getting all this slightly wrong. But
I need to look up a history video.
But the point is that most people consider Taiwan as Chinese.
Yeah.
Okay. In the same way that they saw Hong Kong as Chinese. Now the British owned that until like the 1994 or whatever, right? But it was always before that historically Chinese. I would actually argue that it's probably more British because not more, but the British ran it for a couple of 100 years, and that's quite a long time.
Hong Kong.
Yeah. So, but
no, Hong Kong, sorry.
But nevertheless, a lot of people. I mean, it's called Hong Kong. It's not a very British name, is it? I think everyone can agree that's Chinese. And so I think everyone can agree, really, by extension, Taiwan is Chinese.
Yeah.
So further than that, there's nothing else. Unless you bloody, go back thousands of years, I don't know. But yeah. So China isn't really. So why are they gearing up? Why are they putting so much around the China Sea? Why are they making all these islands? I actually think in their psyche, it's more about power of China. They want to say, don't fuck with us, don't come at me, kind of thing, because look how powerful we are. Because the issue of Taiwan has been one going on for a while. The United States have got a huge base in Taiwan, and ultimately they need to get out of there because that's going to be a conflict there.
Yeah.
I actually don't. I wonder if Trump says we're going to get out of Taiwan, that obviously gives the green light for the Chinese to go in. He will need to be able to spin that as a way of we're just going to let you have it. So therefore, let us have this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Trump's all about the art of the deal, isn't he? So all these things, it's all about negotiation. I don't think Trump wants war. I don't think he wants people to die. I just think he wants to have a legacy. I think he wants to have more land. For example, him or the United States owning Greenland, I don't think he thinks, well, what's the problem with that? Well, why not? Why should Denmark have it? Well, what have they done? What are they doing for it? It's like it's almost like it's like Greenland is a business that that Denmark acquired many years ago, and they're not looking after it. And he can run it much better than Denmark can. So therefore, he should have it. And I think that's probably the way he sees a lot of these other countries as well.
If he wants to take England, feel free.
Well,
feel free to come get Keir Starmer while he sleeps.
I also think as well that when it comes to like Iraq, etc., you kind of think, well, why did America go in there, spend billions and billions of dollars, putting boots on the ground, getting people killed, and for what? Yeah. What have they really, really got from it? Nothing. So he's saying, look, if we're going to be going there, if we're going to be putting boots on the ground, I want a bit of something. Yeah. I want an agreement on minerals, on oil, or even territory. It's like he was saying with Gaza, right? So he got involved in that. He created the peace thing, but he's saying, well, I want Gaza. He's saying basically he wants Gaza to be American, and that's how that kind of ended up. He says it can be like the Riviera Gaza. It's all beachfront. It could be really, really nice. I genuinely don't think that's
Trump, the real estate tycoon.
Well, yeah, that's it, right? I don't think he's a warmonger. I think he's someone. He's a real estate guy, right? So he wants land.
Yeah.
He wants business, but he also understands that you can get that from might. Because you're not going to get it from negotiation any other way. Yeah. You need to basically almost look like you're threatening in order to get it.
Yeah,
that's my thoughts on it.
It's interesting. I mean, I definitely don't see Donald Trump taking Thailand. Greenland, I think, is
Thailand.
Canada, sorry.
You got Thailand on the brain.
I have. I do think he'll take Greenland. I think he's got nothing against it. I also think he'll probably take Colombia. I'm not sure about Cuba.
I think we'll take Panama.
Maybe. Yeah, Panama's really small. It'd be a really...
It's like, place your bets. What in a year's time, we'll look back at this podcast that we made in January 2026 and see which ones he took.
We'll start off with 50 stars on the flag, and then there'll be like 72.
Yeah. Right. So let's do it like this: a quick yes or no. Right.
Okay.
So in a year's time, will America not necessarily own but control? So basically own these following countries: Venezuela.
Yes.
I agree. Yes. Greenland.
Yes.
I agree. Yes. Colombia.
Yes.
I agree. Yes.
I feel like I'm getting marked for a GCSE quiz or something.
No, I say I agree.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not. I don't know. Mexico.
No. Too big.
I don't think so either. I think there might be some skirmishes about part of Mexico. I'm doing a little caveat here. I think there may well be areas that they goes, let's take this little bit. Okay. All right. Panama.
Yes.
I think you'll take Panama.
I don't think that'll be a
because that kind of works, doesn't it? You got Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Cuba.
In a year time, no. Mm-hmm. I think, although it's close to America, in a year's time, no, I don't see that happening.
I'm just gonna go screw it. Yes. So his main man is a chap called Marco Rubio. Pretty cool name.
He's Cuba.
Yeah, so he's historically, or he's got family ties or whatever to Cuba, and he's been a big pusher for that. And it's just off the coast of Florida.
Yep.
I think it all kind of ties in.
I really want to try a Cuban sandwich.
I mean, the rest of them in Latin America, you might just steamroll through it. You got El Salvador,
Costa Rica.
Guatemala, you got a few, a few there.
Nicaragua.
Yeah, will he take those? Well, I don't know. Costa Rica, will he take that? Fuck knows. So yeah, scary times ahead when you look at it like that. Oh yeah, and Canada, no.
That would be. I think that'd be.
I also don't feel he's got time.
Nah.
I mean, he's on his second year of the 4-year term. But I mean, he has just started it.
Canada's massive as well. You need to remember that. It's not like. It's not about
how big the country is. It's how much power they've got. What's the GDP? What's their military?
Yeah, well, they have power, but you do need to look.
Canada doesn't have much. Right, for the size of Canada, right, for the value that it is, they can't keep hold of all the land that they've got.
Yes, Oliver, but the whole point I'm making here is that Venezuela, they got their.
I agree with you.
Their capital city is basically next to the water anyway, right? America got into their planes one night, drove there, got the president, and got out, right? You can't do that in Canada. It's too big. The planes wouldn't have enough fuel. The helicopters wouldn't have enough fuel. Canadians would see it coming, and it would give them time to build defences. It's not like a simple grab the president overnight. And that's what happened in Venezuela. I mean, they literally went in there, pat the dog, walked in.
Right.
Bloke tried to run into a vault, got captured, and they took him.
Canada's not going to make the first move. America will make the first move because Canada knows that they can't win, so what's the point?
Agreed.
And America would then strike all of Canada's bases from air and by sea.
Why are we talking about this? Is so ridiculous.
And Canada will have to come to negotiating table.
It won't happen. It really won't happen. I promise you that it won't happen.
I think it depends on the American people, ultimately. Because is this what Americans want?
No, it won't be. They a lot of them view Canadians as brothers in the same way as Canadians view.
Yes, but so do Russians and Ukrainians, and look at that. So if you consider,
I'm not sure about that. There's a lot. Some of Ukraine I will completely agree with, as some of Ukraine absolutely not. That's. I was remember watching a documentary on it, and they talked about the places that Russia already have. Many of them were happy to be taken over, like the Donbass region, right? A lot of them already counted themselves as Russian. But when you go to places like Kiev and more left, they don't view themselves as Russian. In fact, they don't like Russia. They wouldn't be fighting against it if they liked Russia. And it is them fighting against it. It's their kids. It's their husbands. They're the ones fighting. Canada ain't gonna happen, especially not this year.
But isn't it wild that we're even talking about this, by the way?
You are.
Isn't it wild that we're talking about this?
Yeah.
Do you? And this might be the last. Last question from me anyway. But do you get a bit weirdly giddy about how exciting all this is?
Yeah.
It's fucked up, isn't it? It's like watching. It's like if you watched a film and it was a happy film where everyone got on, it'd be really, really boring. You want some action, right? You want something like ooh, Now, I don't want anyone to die, obviously, but it is a little bit cool.
But do you know what the funny thing about that is?
But it's like taking over Greenland. No one's going to die if America takes over Greenland. So that's pretty cool.
But do you know what?
No one died when it took over Venezuela. So that's pretty cool.
The funny thing about that is that we're a little giddish now, but we wouldn't be giddish if we knew where this ball could lead. Let's be honest. Yeah. It's like one of those situations, but I completely agree with you. Like, it is a little bit. I mean, it's a bit exciting, isn't it?
Well, if you look at Venezuela, right? So, country on its knees. Everybody, most of the population in Venezuela are happy with what's happened. Okay, so I think something like 36 people died, right? But they were part of the bad organization, of the people in charge that were, dictators, etc., and associates of. So it's like, well, okay, you don't mind if bad people die, right? And there's not many of them, so okay, that's fine. So if it kind of happens like that, it's kind of all right. So that basically you got the population of the country largely in support.
Yeah.
A few bad people have died. Boo-hoo. So that's all good. Greenland, I don't think anyone is really that bothered about consulting the 30,000 people that live there. It's more about just wanting to put a flag on the top. Yeah. Is anyone going to die about that? No, because America, Denmark and the EU aren't going to fight it. So what's the point in that? Sorry. So there's no issue there with that. So we can be a bit giddy about that. Colombia, I think he can do the exact same as he did in Venezuela. And the only ones really where we talk about proper bloodshed is where you're talking about large armies dying. I think if United States were to attack Canada, that would be incredibly sad because I don't think anyone's going to win in that battle.
No.
Same thing with Mexico. That's not going to go down well.
Do you know?
So that would be bad.
Do you know what is funny though? And this is something I'd love to know your opinions on. If a war was to break out, if a world war, I have no doubt that by the end of that war, assuming it's not nuclear, there would be wars in space. Because that's why America now has Space Force. The Space Force.
That was so funny. In his first term, he was like, "We're going to have a Space Force."
Yeah. But in all fairness, if there's that really good film. I only watched it recently, Ad Astra. It's got Brad Pitt in it. And it takes America in the future. And it shows them that there's different colonies on the moon, Chinese and Russian, and they're fighting, on the moon. But it's not like in James Bond, like space lasers and stuff. It's just like weapons designed for space. It's still bullets.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
Well, it's cool and very fucking horrific. Because imagine getting like a small little shot. You're dead.
Shrapnel coming off. Yeah, you're dead. Right, one last thing I think. It's only going 10 minutes. But what do you think about Keir Starmer? He's just come out today and said that British troops will go on essentially the front line in Ukraine against Russia, along with France. Yeah. And he's pledged it. So... What? I don't remember voting for that. Do you remember voting for that?
No, we don't vote for that.
I don't remember him saying that. So, what's your thoughts on it? Because he's basically putting us head to head with, eye to eye with the Russians.
Well, it's ridiculous. One, because our force is so small anyway. we can't be stupid about where we put these troops. And in the nicest way, I think England has given enough to Ukraine at this point. England's economy, and this is what basically America said, right? Is that, we're giving all this money to Ukraine. Okay, we don't know if we're even going to win. Yeah? Because it could still go both ways. Or money could dry out. We've given Ukraine unfathomable amount of resources. Yeah?
Yep.
I mean, I think Starmer needs to sit down and look at the UK and just go, you know what? We haven't got the fucking capacity.
Yeah, but what's the alternative? You're going to have huge disruption in Eastern Europe, and with the Baltic states, etc. They can roll through.
Yeah, but
I guess that's what he's doing.
Yeah, but the problem is that when will England learn that we can't start defending other countries until we can defend ourselves, and we can't even defend ourselves?
Defend ourselves against what?
An attack.
From
if
who?
Russia invaded England tomorrow, we would be screwed. Don't tell me otherwise.
Yeah, but which is why, arguably, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
But this is why, arguably, we are in favour of putting troops on in Ukraine, because then that would keep the Russians occupied over there, as opposed to anything over here. And of course, if we're showing a willingness with other European leaders to do something like that, they are more obliged to come and help us if we have problems as well. I just think it's so hard, because I don't know. No one really knows what Russia's endgame is. You try and do these peace agreements, peace deals with them, and they're not really working. So is he not going to be happy until the whole of Ukraine and the rest of the eastern flank is in Russia's hands, or what? I don't know.
But I do agree with one thing you said today. Actually, I agree with quite a lot of things you said, but there's one thing I do definitely agree with, and that's that Russia would never be able to take Europe. Never.
So we don't even need America. I don't think we need America. But what we do need to do, all of Europe, is spend more money.
Yeah.
Stop inviting all the foreigners from Afghanistan and Syria and all those countries.
Yep.
And reinvest money into our own defence.
Yep. Agreed.
That's
absolutely.
That's what we've got to do. And I actually think there's a lot of frustration from America and from the MAGA kind of side of America with Europe, whether it's from the wokeness or it's not putting in its fair share with NATO, with its defence commitments. It's just I think there's a lot of frustration there. Even tech, even their taxes. Europe is much more heavily taxed, and it's taxing American companies, etc. There's a lot of frustration from America on Europe, and I think they ain't got time for it no more.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think. Do you know what they've done? They've developed a backbone, which is something I think England needs to start.
Oh yeah, everyone says that, don't they? It's I actually think I feel like in my heart, I feel like the UK has been downtrodden, is being under a thumb, under a shoe, and I feel like we have so much potential, but we've just been, beaten.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing with the rest of Europe. For so long, for a good couple of decades, it needs someone in charge or about to be in charge to then say, I'm going to stand up.
Yeah.
It's like, someone that's quite a burly chap, and he's getting beaten up by a little guy.
Yeah.
And he's allowing himself to get beaten up. And at some point, we want that big guy that's getting beaten up to just stand up.
Yeah.
And just say, no.
I
think we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I actually don't think it's just the UK. I think it's the whole of Europe. We need a leader that is very strong-willed. I don't think we've had that for years and years and years.
Nigel Farage, is he that person?
No, I don't think so. Don't get me wrong. I think Nigel's alright, but I think he's just at the end of the day, he's just.
I think he's fantastic, but I don't know if he's got. He's been around that sort of political
for a lot of time.
For most of his life.
Yeah, we need someone that hasn't. That's the thing.
But he's all we've got. So we have to vote Farage in the next election because every other alternative is just not good. So he's the best that we've got, and then we can then go a bit more extreme. After that, when I say a bit more extreme, I just mean further to the right.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I think
he said about deporting people and stuff like that, which is quite far right.
Yeah, he did.
Far right, further to the right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Even if there was just listen, here's the thing, and this is an interesting one. I think I would take a strong leader, a really strong leader, that's even more centre, right? Not a left one, but if I had a strong leader that is even more centre, I'd probably pick them because I believe in them more. Because what we need is someone to come in and flip the rule book and just go, well, why are we doing this? Oh, because of this. Nah, fuck off. We'll do something different.
Yeah.
You know, and it takes a backbone to do that. And it takes someone that's willing to get a little bit dirty to do it. But we don't have that. We have MPs that are just dancing around.
We've just got far too much red tape and political correctness, you know, and it just means that we don't get anything done. And it's not just us; it's the rest of Europe. Nothing gets done. Yeah, everything's so slow, and so all these other countries, and America included, that doesn't have those, have just overtaken us.
Did you hear about Shamina Begum?
Yeah.
How she's gone to the European.
Yeah.
If she wins that,
yeah,
this is the time England that'll blow up reform because that is a disgrace. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there was a girl that joined ISIS when she was 16.
Yeah, got married or something. Like that.
Yeah, married. Went to Syria or Afghanistan, wherever.
Off her own will.
It wasn't forced. And she made videos about it. And then she decided to come back, and England was like, no, fuck you. We just spent. Soldiers have died fighting for what you said was a great thing. So you're not coming back, and essentially, she's exhausted all of her legal.
No one wants her.
Yeah, and now she's gone to the European Court of Human Rights to try and alleviate it. And one of reform's big things was they want to get rid of that. They want to not get rid of it, but they want to get out of it. And once again, it's like Oliver said, it's just red tape. It's just someone that has no interest in this country turning around and going, "No, you can't do that."
Yeah,
fuck off. America's just invaded Venezuela. We can do what we want. Ireland, you're looking very nice.
Yeah, let's get a bit of that island back.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Didn't go well the first time.
Yeah, should we call it there?
Huh?
I said, should we call it there?
Yeah, 1 hour and 8 minutes.
Right, we'll see what happens. Same time, same place next week.
Bye.
Bye. That's all right.
Yeah, that was good.